Oh, hey again, guys. How's it going? Mo Freegan back again. I got the first in a new series I'm starting called Black Button Locks. And today we're going to feature the Sharp RMX. So to me, a black button lock has a few features. It doesn't necessarily have to have a button lock, which is like a button plunge lock or a button liner lock. And it's basically any one finger operation lock with your fingers not in the blade path. We have a question about the RMX. My very first knife actually breaks my rule, where when you get into automatic knives, then it's not really one finger closing anymore because you have to hold the lock button down and then close it, or hold the block button down and then like put it against your body and close it. So it stops becoming one finger closing action if you have a button operated automatic. So for my rule to be maintained, I'd have to keep this. And that's what's interesting about the Sharp RMX is that it gives you two different pivots. One that's an automatic pivot and one that's a manual pivot. You have to hold the button down and then flick it open. It doesn't have a thumb stud. It doesn't have a thumb hole. It doesn't have a flipper tab. So the only way to open it is to hold the button down and flip it open. That is not my favorite way. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to convert it to a automatic. We're going to decide about it. But here we go. We got the Sharp RMX. And of course it's blacked out. I had to wait for the blacked out one, of course. All right, let's go over to the table. Sharp RMX. Comes in this very nice box. Take a look at that. All right, now let's get it open. You're going to want to keep these instructions. They are important if you're going to switch the knife over to the automatic, which I am going to do. Looks like we have some extra hardware. That's very nice. And then we have this is the automatic pivot. You can tell from this cogwheel pivot there. You can tell that's how you can tell it's automatic. It's got that cogwheel shape on there. The other one is smooth. You can see it right there. It's smooth. And then they give you this tool, and it's two-sided. This is the tool for the cog pivot. You can see those little triangles fit into those. All right, and then we have two ticks on the top there. You can see them. And then we have a one tick on that side, and then we have an arrow on that one, and that one's going to go to the 3 o'clock position when we're switching over the pivots. All right, let's get it out. And like I said, this blade is not coming out until you push that button. Then it can flick out. All right, the specs on this. This is M390 blade, black Cerakote, heated to 60 to 62 HRC. This is magnesium alloy cast integral scale. Integral meaning that this top scale, this bottom scale is connected on the back. And so it's one solid piece that wraps all the way around that has been milled out in the middle to let the blade slide down in there. That's what integral means. It's very different than this tenable knife that has a front scale and a back scale with liners, and then there's two pieces in there screwed together with these screws coming down the sides. Here it is next to the tenable Fenrir. So, pretty good sized knife here. Maybe not as big as that Fenrir. It's also not as heavy. It's actually quite a bit lighter. This is 7.5 inches long. The handle is 4.3 inches. The blade is 3.2 inches. The total weight is 2.7 ounces, so very light. Comes in tip up, deep carry pocket clip that is reversible. It must have a little cover over there, but it does say it's reversible, so it must be a little cover. This clip is PVD coated, and this is Cerakoted. These are made in Oregon out of international source parts. Let's switch out this manual pivot. Let me get out a little tray. This one's from County Calm, I believe, Golden Dark tray. And the first step is to remove this screw, but they want you to leave this black pivot collar in place, so we'll do that first. It looks like this automatic pivot comes with its own screw that we need to remove. And then maybe we'll use that one to see if we can push through the manual pivot on the other side. All right, that did exactly what we thought. The screw just fell out. It's okay. We'll move this out of the way. We want to remove this. We want to remove the bearing with this. We don't need that bearing in there. Now you can see on the back cog pivot that there's these 2 indentations here. 1, 2. Do you see those? We want to line those up with this 1 and 2 tick, 1 and 2 on this tool. All right, now we have those 1 and 2 lined up with those little indentations there. Now we want those to go in with this arrow, this 3rd tick mark, but it looks like an arrow pointed at the 3 o'clock position, right at that little indentation in the scale there. All right, now I've lined everything up. I got the arrow pointed at the 3 o'clock position. With it in here, I want to rotate it to where it can be a stronger ejection or a softer ejection when you hit the button. How hard does it shoot out? And I want it full strong. So for the stronger one, you want the 2 tick marks moved over to the 3 o'clock position. So let's do that. And then it says, tight the screw all the way down, and then it shouldn't shoot out because it's too tight. Then loosen it to where you like it. All right, see, I can't push the button down. That's what they said would happen if I get it too tight. So we'll just go back off a bit until we can get the button down. Maybe a little bit less. Okay. Still, I'd like it a little bit less, I think. Nope, too loose. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong, if I put it together wrong. I must have something wrong. I'm going to redo it, see if I can figure out what I did wrong. It's just the button is really gritty. I mean, it shoots out. I mean, I think I have the springs right. Something's weird about the button. I think that's the way it is. I just don't think it has the button just is really gritty to go down. I don't know if you can hear that. It can't be the way they intended it. Maybe because it's coated. I don't know. Let's do some cutting. All right, what do we have here today to cut? An episode of third-person phenomenon involving somesthetic and visual hallucinations in a world-class extreme altitude climber. Interesting. Somesthetic. Let's just guess from context clues. Sensory hallucinations, somesthetic. Not visual, not auditory, somesthetic. Somesthetic refers to bodily sensations of touch, pressure, pain, and temperature, as well as senses of position and movement. So it includes a lot of senses, including proprioception of where your body is in position and movement. Interesting. Let's see if it cuts. Cuts like a dream. I would expect nothing less from a company that's mostly makes sharpeners. All right, let's go see how it does on cardboard. I just wanted to get the knife out and use it how I typically use my knife, just breaking down boxes. I cut this one down way smaller than I typically do just to take the knife through its paces. I ended up cutting it down to squares that were about 4 inches by 2 inches. And then at the end, I wanted to see how it cut paper afterwards. As you can see here, it's kind of getting caught up on one spot. I think it just might have been because there was a little piece of tape on the blade at that spot. Once I cleaned that piece off, it cut all the way through. But it's still cutting just fine. It's been about 15 minutes trying to mess around with the pivot up and down. Left it, taking the automatic pivot in and out. never got the action the way I wanted to. The button stuck too much. I don't know if it's just wasn't QC'd with the coating on it as much as the other one was, but it's just the automatic function on it just wasn't great, and I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the action. I mean, maybe that button stick will work its way out like all button locks do eventually, but it just feels so much better just out of the box with the manual that I'm just going to try dealing with it with the flick wrist, which I don't love, but I'm just going to try it out and we'll see how it goes. All right, everyone. Well, I'm back. I ended up carrying around the Sharp RMX for the rest of the day, and I ended up switching it back to the automatic because I couldn't stand the manual flip open. And the button did seem to get a little better. I don't know if it's because of the coating. I don't know, but it's just really gritty and not smooth to push down the button. I attempted to put it down on the lower setting because it has 2 settings of spring, and I couldn't get it to lock out on the lower setting. You know, that's my experience. That's this coated one. You know, your experience may vary. But at the end of the day, I don't like it. And that's bad for me because I really wanted to like it. But it's good for you because I'm going to put this on the list of knives to give away from the channel. The first knife I'm showing on the channel that's going to go on that list, the Sharp RMX drop point blackout version. So subscribe to the channel so you can find out when that giveaway is going to be. That's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, watch another video of mine, and I'll see you on the next one. A stronger ejection or a softer ejection when you hit the button? How hard does it shoot out?